Hello and welcome to my 8-Bits. This is my review of Metroid Other M for the Nintendo Wii. Starting with the story, Metroid Other M's takes place a short time after fan favorite Super Metroid. After a flashback to the end of that game and some training at Galactic Federation headquarters, we meet Samus responding to a distress call on the mysterious battleship. Quickly after landing on the ship, Samus runs into a brigade of Galactic Federation soldiers, including Anthony Higgs, a friend from past military ventures, and her former commander and father figure, Adam Malkovich. Things take a turn for the worst after learning some unsavory things about what was going on the battleship, and Samus has to save any survivors, keep the other soldiers safe, and herself alive. It all shapes up to be a very good suspense and thriller story, and it'll keep you going until the end. The biggest problem with the story is Samus's narration. Most of the time she seems uninterested and apathetic. Despite this, her narration is littered with purple prose and over-emotional sentences. Yes, Samus has had a very troubled past and survived unimaginable things, but most of what she says and how she says it fits better on LiveJournal than it would in an action game. Wait until after the credits for the true ending. The gameplay in Other M is both original and formulaic. Those who have played other games in this series will recognize and quickly familiarize themselves with Samus's classic run-and-gun gameplay, as well as the function of some power-ups such as the iconic Morph Ball, while in the third person you hold the single Wiimote like a NES controller. Hold the D-pad for movement. Shooting is mostly handled by the game's very intelligent auto-aim and the one button, while the two-button jumps. The A button is used to transform into the Morph Ball, while the plus button brings up the map and other menus. You are also able to switch into the first person by pointing the remote at the screen. This is how you use missiles and other selected power-ups. You use the B button to look around and lock on, and the A button to shoot. On the first person you are stuck in place, so it's only really usable for looking around, boss fights, or shooting at things at very long range. Some enemies are also damaged by missile alone, so you'll have to use them then mid-battle. Some sections in the game lock you on into the mode and make you search for a very tiny thing in the field. These parts of the game are definitely some of the most annoying and trying in the game. The controls work very well for the game, and are quick and easy to learn. Predictably, the D-pad does not hold up during the game's heavier platforming segments in 3D spaces, and it's times like those where you'll be wishing for an analog stick. Switching between the first and third person perspectives is fluid, but it's a little disorienting to have to find your cursor when going from third to first. Those looking for an expansive Metroidvania will be disappointed. The game is short and mostly linear. Also, unlike every other game in the series, you don't find weapon and suit upgrades. Instead, Commander Adam Malkovich permits you to use certain upgrades when he finds it necessary. This gets very frustrating as he won't assign certain upgrades until way after you'll think you'll need them. For example, Adam won't authorize the use of the heat damage negating Variasuit until you're up to the boss of the fire theme section of the ship. For the compulsive, there are plenty of missile and health expansions for you to search for and collect on your journey. However, the reward for collecting every item isn't that good, so it is reserved only for the obsessive. Also, unlike every other Metroid game, enemies won't drop missiles and health upon death. If you should ever run low on either, you could hold the Wii Remote upright and hold the A button to concentrate. This allows Samus to wish her missiles and health back into existence. While it may seem cheap, it does actually take a lot of strategy to use. You can only regain health when you're a few hits away from death, and this is the only mechanic other than save points that restore health. There are also some parts of the game that will find you walking, and just walking, very slowly, for minutes on end. And while few, these parts are dreadful. Difficulty is fair throughout, though there are some random spikes. Your average gamer should be able to get through it fine. The game is very short, the main campaign clocking in at 8 to 10 hours depending on individual skill. Add another 2 or so if you plan to 100% the game and collect every item. To its credit, the game is very well paced and it does feel a lot longer. Plus, everything does work very well, and you'll have plenty of fun. Lack of a New Game Plus puts a damper on replayability, though being such a short and well-paced action game, it fared well for weekend replays. Presentation-wise, the game passes with flying colors. Character models and textures are lovingly rendered and animations fluid. The game is also very colorful and never dull. Environments are varied, and even while backtracking, many rooms seem different every time you go through them. And that's not even mentioning the CG cutscenes. These are also very well done and are a joy to watch. Sometimes. Again, Samus's narration gets in the way, and some of these cutscenes drag on for way too long. As a testament to how good and well done they are, though, the game has a theater mode, where you can watch them in order as if the game were a feature film. The game is weaker in the sound department. There is hardly any music in the entire game. It manages to get by an ambiance with the sounds of footsteps and various monster cries, but it does not succeed as the Primarch did. However, there are some very good remixes of classic Metroid fare, but these are used mostly for punctuation or special events in the game, such as boss fights. Also absent from the game is the inclusion of classic Metroid jingles. The game is great for action lovers or for game lovers in general. With simple controls and a more linear nature, the game is easier for newcomers to pick up and play, but might disappoint veterans. I personally think that the game would have benefited by not being a Metroid game, and thus not being judged by the conventions of one. Despite some minor annoyances and a lack of genre staples, Team Ninja's time with the franchise has given the industry a successful experiment for both action games and the Metroid franchise. Metroid the Other M gets an 8 out of 10. If you want to see more gameplay, please take a look at my other channel, Dash Roll Rush, link in the description, for a playthrough of the game. Please thumbs up and subscribe.